Well, bodies which look like corrugated steel are the trademarks of mature bodybuilders, but as Orli Kohn found, there are some exceptions.
They flex, they pump, they groan, and they sweat, all in the quest for the perfect body. It takes a kind of discipline and perseverance that most of us will never know, but to serious bodybuilders, working out is a way of life. While the sight of rippling biceps and bulging pectorals may make some people squeamish, others react with awe. Bodybuilding is, in fact, one of the fastest-growing international sports. It's a sport that has made superstars of such amply endowed men as Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lou Ferrigno, Mr. T, and Sylvester Stallone. In recent years, women have joined the ranks of world-class bodybuilders, fascinating the public with their muscular physiques. Most men and women begin training in their early or mid-20s and continue throughout their 30s and 40s. The sport generally demands a fully grown body because the stress on various body parts is so great. But in 1981, for the first time in bodybuilding history, someone considerably younger was about to take center stage. His name is Garrett Walsh, and he's from Toronto. In 1981, at the age of 12, Garrett became the youngest guest poser in the history of the prestigious Mr. Olympia contest. Garrett began intensive weight training at the age of 6 under the guidance of his father, a former bodybuilder. He made his first public appearance at the age of 8 and won his first competition, Mr. Novice Ontario, at the age of 10. He was soon labeled the world's youngest competitive bodybuilder. Before he reached his teens, Garrett made a vow to himself that before he grew out of his teens, by the age of 19, he would become Mr. Olympia, the youngest title holder in the history of the contest. Garrett is 17 now, and he has never lost sight of his goal. He works out 6 days a week for 2 hours a day after school in his local gym.
I work out every day right now, one major body part a night. So that's to gain more size. And you see, when you're doing one major body part a night, you can go all out on that one muscle. See, before I was doing it every second day, but I was doing 2 and 3 body parts. And I found when you get to the second and third, you're not going out as much as you could. So now I'm trying this. You have to experiment with your workouts, see what'll work for you.
Garrett has already won dozens of medals and trophies for his outstanding physique. He now competes with men who are often twice his age and comes out on top. He most recently won the award for having the best overall back in the Mr. Southwestern Ontario contest.
I started bodybuilding when I was 6 years old. Actually, a couple weeks before, but say 6. And the reason I started is because I used to play hockey. I played hockey for 8 years. And I was always the smallest one on my team. I had problems with my tonsils. And I think the doctor said it held back my growth. And so I thought if I took up bodybuilding, it would make me more stable on my feet, give me more stability. So when those big guys hit me, I wouldn't go flying, you know.
Do you have any problems balancing your schoolwork with your workouts?
Well, during school, I don't have much time for anything except going to school and bodybuilding, but I used to play hockey. I played hockey for 8 years. And, but it got a little bit too much when I had exams. And then I had a 2-hour workout to do. Then I'd go to a hockey game the same night. It was too much. So my dad said to me, well, you got to quit one or the other, bodybuilding or hockey, because my school marks were going right down. So I said I wasn't going to quit bodybuilding.
What's your diet like?
Okay, well, a typical meal for me, for instance, breakfast, I usually have pancakes and eggs or steak and eggs. And like I told you, I was on a high carbohydrate diet. And for instance, for lunch, I'd either have 2 or 3 ribeye steaks and some pancakes, and or some fish or chicken. But usually I go for high carbohydrate. And for instance, for supper, I'd have lots of green and yellow vegetables, which is high in carbohydrates.
The cost of Garrett's food and vitamin supplements is enormous. His family is currently searching for a sponsor. But whether they get outside help or not, Garrett Walsh is determined to stick it through. His dedication and discipline has already prompted 8,000 fans to write to him. Also instrumental in Garrett's success is the dedication of his family. His parents spend endless hours preparing his enormous meals. Garrett's father, in fact, is so meticulous about his son's eating habits that he drives Garrett's specialized lunches to school every day. But Garrett's not the only youngster to stand out in bodybuilding competitions. Hot on his heels is the newest young bodybuilder in the world. And this time, it's a girl. Rafaela Nehausen began her bodybuilding career at the age of 4 when she picked up a set of dumbbells in her father's Toronto fitness club and started imitating other bodybuilders. Coached by her parents, Rafaela works out 3 times a week for 45 minutes per session. The 9-year-old grade 4 student has already posed around the world and has won a room full of trophies. She averages 8 competitions a year and is now preparing her posing routine for this year's Canadian National Exhibition in Toronto.
I don't want to become a professional bodybuilder. Some people do think that women bodybuilders are just all muscle, but I really don't. I think they just do it to keep their body in tone and in shape. They don't want to be fat or anything, they just want to be in shape.
Although more teenagers are participating in the sport, child bodybuilders are still a novelty. There are dangers involved in starting young. Stressing muscles can deform growing bones, and growth can, in fact, be stunted altogether. Young bodybuilders should be under careful medical supervision. Although they are aware of the disadvantages of starting young, for Garrett and Rafaela, the challenges and rewards of the sport outweigh any possible dangers. For Midday, I'm Orli Kohn.
Were you ever into bodybuilding when you were?
I started at the age of 3, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could tell.
Special dinners.
Don't tell lies in the air. We'll be back right after.